So I'm walking around the shopping centre here, looking at all the things that, all the shiny, I don't know what the lighting's like, but you can see all the things that you don't need and don't really want that sort of fill up the space you have in consciousness where the call for God is trying to get through and grab your attention so that you start to pay attention to it. And the funny thing is, I've just recently bought for the motorhome a console, a game console, so I can access the internet, play games, watch movies and do all that sort of stuff in my mobile home. And it came with 2 games, and I'm 60 now, I'm really not into games, but I thought I'll give it a go. And one of the games is this adventure game where you pretend to be somebody else, like a role play game. And it's one of those things when you turn it off, like when you go and see a really powerful movie or something and it affects you, but when you turn it off you still feel like you're sort of in the movie, like in the experience of it. And oh look, we've got Rolex here and all the really expensive stuff, because that validates you more if you're able to afford all this stuff. And this experience here in the shopping centre is exactly like that. So walking around and everything's just through the avatar and other avatars, and you wonder, like, if I look with the body's eyes, then I see the stories. Everything just is, what have we got there, Prada or something? Oh, Louis Vuitton. There's Prada. They come together. These things happen in pairs. But it very much seems virtual. I mean, it is virtual. It's completely illusory, the whole thing, and it just disappears in the blink of an eye when you have a moment of true experience, non-temporal experience, and you just see it all vanish. But then, of course, you're back here to do the work, the spiritual work. You don't want to bypass anything, and you accept things how it is. In the Course it says some see it on point of death and then rise again to teach it, and some see it in experience that's not of the world. And all of this is a distraction to the experience. Absolutely every living second of it. And what you're looking for within all of this whole thing is one living second, one holy instant, one moment where for a second there is a resolute decision in the mind for not this, for simply something other than this. But until this no longer has any allure, until this no longer has any kind of value, then all of it has to stay in witness to the rest, even like a cigarette on the floor, which there's something over there, very shabby from Hermes, some dirt at their door. But all of it's a distraction. It keeps the mind firmly entrenched in the story of separation, and you don't even realise it's a story of separation. You think you're here just doing the same thing as everybody else, wandering around, and everything that you experience seems completely credible, which is why you have to have an experience that is non-temporal. And when you're going to let that happen, when that occurs, is completely up to you. Like, there's no sort of format for it. It's by the grace of God in your willingness to have it occur. When we practice the principles of the Course in Miracles, what we're actually practicing is letting go of temporal association in the moment where the relationship with the world seems to be presenting a certain storyline, and choosing again for God in that situation without necessarily having to know what God is, whether we even believe in God or anything, but just choosing to leave a space open where something else can occur that's not of our own making. It's like for a second you don't adjust to pain, which is what all of this is, the whole experience of the world, all of this that I'm looking at now through this body with the body's eyes, and you'll see through the camera. It's the symbolic representation of denial. And I know that seems ridiculous, but it's not until you realise how much everything's all the same, how everything is exactly the same as anything else, that you begin to really feel trapped, and that you begin to really want an alternative. And there comes a point where you want an alternative that literally is anything other than this. You know, you give up trying to have it on your own terms, you give up trying to have your own agenda, and for a second you refuse to adjust to time and space, you refuse to adjust to the constant presence of the form association, even though it continues to draw upon you to seek validation and thus confirm the identity of the body as being the limited self-identity. So, anyway, I thought this would be a good experiment, make a little video in here with all these distractions and everything, and see how focused I'm able to stay, because there is a lot going on here. And I always tell people, if you want to learn to meditate, go and sit by a highway. Don't go into the forest where it's quiet and everything. Go and sit by the highway where it's noisy and polluted and uncomfortable, and it will force you, or it will drive you, or hone your focus, I don't really know how to talk about it, into a point where you get a result. You know, finally, there's like, you're putting emphasis into it, you're making an experiment with your own integrity, let's say, and you're focusing on the principle of the whole exercise rather than how you want that exercise to look. You sort of give up trying to run it your own way, and you just say, all right, look, I'll do this. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to say yes. And I mean, whatever it looks like, it doesn't have to go and sit by a highway. I mean, imagine if you sat here meditating. I don't know if somebody would ask you to move on or not. Maybe I'll give it a crack, but I've got an appointment now at the optometrist in here, and that'll be another moment, another opportunity, another relationship. You know, so, oh, there I am with my new selfie stick. I've got 2 selfie sticks now. This one will fit in my backpack for Japan very nicely, very, very small. All right, love you guys, and I'll see you in the next Zoom. Peace.